Yeah. You've spoken on another podcast about grief, and we won't get too deep into the weeds, but something that I found that came to me while I was listening to you talk about it is that in the worst kind of situations that humans deal with, grief being one of them, or mental illness, or even COVID-19, you read it in books like Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. He's in the worst situation that humans ever endured in the Holocaust. And you also find the best of humanity in those situations. And you find that in grief as well. If someone's going through grief, all of their loved ones kind of form around them almost unconsciously. And it's just that, almost paradox of the worst possible things happening, but the best possible part of humanity is also happening alongside that. Do you find that?
Do you know, it's really making me think of something sort of, you talk about sort of profound in the small things, and as in we as humans do. And I think on that podcast I was probably talking about, because my mum died when I was young, I might have been talking about that. And I remember when that happened, very specifically noticing tiny things to cope. I remember noticing a pattern on the back of a car seat that I was in, going, I think, to a hospital. And like, I don't know, that it was definitely a way of grief focuses you. It really focuses you because it can't not, in a way. It focuses everything. So at the time that something really big is happening, you're like, oh, maybe I don't need this person in my life who isn't good for me. Or maybe, you haven't got the spare energy. Like probably the same as when you've just had a baby and you're so tired. You haven't got the spare energy to get, I don't know, to get bogged down in the things that normally focus you. So you do start focusing in that situation of being surrounded by people who love you, if you're lucky, and that is what happens to you. It's also very focusing. You've suddenly got all these people with you who are there just to be there.
Yeah. I think also what I think we have the proclivity to do as humans is to focus on the things we focus on are dependent on what's going on in our lives. So if it's grief, about 7 years I lost someone, and I tended to find that I was getting all these like symbols coming up. I wasn't, like, it was just coincidences, but it would be like loud cars or something like that. Like a car would drive past that was really loud, and that would be like, oh, that's really weird. I'm just thinking about that. Then a loud car drove past.